Right, hello and welcome back to the channel. As you can obviously see, I'm not in the van. I'm currently sat round the pool on holiday. Wasn't going to or intending to put a video out this Wednesday. However, my missus has gone back to the room for a couple of hours, so I was fiddling around with the videos that I've got stored on my phone. Thought I'd edit one up. If I've got my timings right, you'll be seeing a few little jobbing jobs. I think you're going to show the one where I go to my auntie's house and sort some taps out, and an issue with a syphon, interchanging a syphon, which is quite handy actually, because one of the syphons we couldn't get a replacement for, and we end up using another make syphon that works, so that's interesting. Also, a few months back we had an issue with a job with a thermostatic mixing valve that we couldn't locate in a bathroom. A lot of people are messaging me about this job, and we finally got to the issue with it, problem with it, and rectified it, which is quite interesting actually. So that's at the end of the video. Make sure you hang around and watch it. Also, while you're here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll let you get on with the video while I carry on sunning myself around the pool. Right, another little jobbing job. I seem to, at the moment, have a load of small little jobbing jobs, bread and butter jobs that I'm catching up on. Now this one is for my auntie who lives just up the road from me. She wanted taps in a basin changing. They've been in, well, God knows how long they've been in, but as you can see round here, it's furring up, and she said it's leaking out of there. They're beginning to pitter on the top and all round the sides. So she just wanted a cheap pair of taps popping in there. So we've got some taps, and also I'm going to put isolation valves on the bottom of these flexes. So we've got them to do, and also a ball valve inside the system's really noisy. So I don't know what the problem is with that, but I've picked up Fluid Master Pro 45 to pop in there, because these I know are really quiet. So we'll swap that out as well. But yeah, we'll get these done first. So water's off, and it's going to give me a chance to use, I've only ever used these ones on this Unilite tap kit, you know, for doing like mixer taps, kitchen taps. So it'll be the first time I've used these ones to try and get the taps out from underneath there. So let's have a little bit of a play around with these. So I've just switched out that tap very straightforward and easily with, so I've used this little tool, which is obviously in the Unilite kit. It's quite handy as well. I didn't need it on this one, but this bit here will go, you can put the pipe sort of in there. You know, if you've got a fitting where the tap's at the top and the pipe comes straight down off it, sometimes it's a bit of a pain. But that will go, if you see, all the way down, and that just goes up to the bottom of the tap, fits in there really well, and just undo it off. So that was very easy, and also you can also put it onto, if need be, the ratchet side of that Unilite tap kit and do it that way. So yeah, I think they've thought of everything with that, but yeah, it fits really well on there. So I've put that back up, tightened up that tap, as you can see, like that. What I'm going to do is whip this off, put an isolation valve on and a new flexi. Then I'll show you exactly how easy it is taking this other tap out. So that's that side done. Put a new flexi on, put an isolation valve on there. Just makes life a lot easier. So we'll do the same this side. So we'll get the spanner on that and do this flexi off. Way. Perfect. So easy. These Unilite tap kits really are very good. I have so many people message me and say, are they really worth it? Are they really, you know, because they're not cheap. I think they're about 140 odd quid. But I was, as I said before, I was dubious about getting one because of the price, but genuinely very impressive. So there we go, that's the tap out. We'll just give the top So give the top a little bit of a wipe down. So get the other tap, get the nut off the bottom. So the other tap on, just get the nut hand tight to the bottom of the valve, hand tight to the bottom of the tap, and then get the spanner back on it. There you go. And then what I always do, offer the flexi up onto the bottom of the tap, and then what we can do is, so we cut the isolation valve in the same sort of height as we did the other one. So got the isolation valve on, flexi made up, and we just connect that now, like so, to the bottom of the tap. Job done. So we go, 2 new taps in, new flexes in, new ISOs in both sides. What we'll do, we'll shut these off now, and then go and get the water back on. Oh no, I've still got this to do. So we'll shut these off, and then we'll start and have a look at this. Okay, so as I said, with this ball valve, it just seems to be really noisy. I popped in a while ago, turned the isolation valve down to try and quiet it down, try and make it less noisy, but obviously doing that means it takes longer to fill up. So what we're going to do is just whip this out, get the aqua vac, suck the rest of the water out, and then whip this valve out and pop in a fluid master one that is meant to be ultra quiet. So we shall see. So as I've said, I think on so many of my videos recently, is these Milwaukee Aquavacs, I think they're about 100 quid. They're one of them tools, if you haven't got one, you don't know you need one. As soon as you get one, you realise, how have I done without them for so long? It's handy for just taking the water out the bottom of these cisterns, or even when you're draining heating systems down, or if you've had a leak, just to mop the floor up with, and obviously they pick up normal rubbish anyway. So treat yourself to one of them, proper handy little tool. So that's the water out the bottom of the cistern. We will now undo it from here and swap the valve over. I know, might be alright. The vac has picked it all up. So as I said, I'm going to swap it for one of these fluid masters, and they come with, has this one got one? Yeah. So the good thing with these fluid masters is, if you look here, if I can stop that rolling away, if you look here, you get a flow restrictor with them. Now if you look here, flow restrictor, regulator, in areas of high water pressure, elements of noise such as water hammer can be experienced. Now that's what they were getting here. Well, it wasn't water hammer, it was just a really loud noise when that, wherever it is, I can't remember where I've put it, where that ball valve was just really, really noisy. Chances are it's probably not even, no, it's not got nothing in it. So with that regulator, all you do is pop it up inside the bottom of the ball valve, and it will just restrict, not restrict, but stop that high pressure of water going in. So that's in. We'll put the washer on it, like so, and pop it back in the cistern. I always prefer with ball valves when the actual tails are brass, because it stops that element of cross threading, which can be a complete nightmare on some valves. A lot of the cheaper ones, but the Fluid Master ones are good as gold. What we'll do, we'll just turn it off when we get the water back on. So yeah, so that's one ball valve in, 2 taps done, isolation valves are off. So we'll swing back down now, turn the water back on, and come up and check that they're all right. So that's the water on downstairs. Let's turn that on. Just check under there. Perfect there. The pressure is quite high. The water pressure is really high here. Which is great. It's great having high water pressure, so they're all good. But as we found out, it plays havoc with these ball valves. So let's turn this on. So I can tell straight away that it's so much more quieter, and as you can see, these ones, if you pick it up, they fill from the bottom. So yeah, I can tell straight away that's so much more quiet. Before it was like a filling up. Yeah, the noise before, and because my auntie, she's getting a little bit older, she's up and down in the night, it was constantly, you know, that noise. So then when I altered it, she said, yeah, it helped a little bit, but it was taking forever to fill up. So with the Fluid Master one, with that flow restrictor in it, silent. So they didn't lie on the box. Ultra quiet. It is. I love a company that do exactly what they say they're going to do. Perfect. There we go, toilet done, taps done. So we just, as you've just seen, fitted a new valve in this toilet. Filled it up, flushed it, and as you can see, there's no resistance in the button, and the pan is now passing. So what I've done, obviously, is lifted the top off, disconnect the button, just get that out of the way. Basically, I'll just take this out, put it over to the basin. What you can see here is the bottom of it is dropping down manually like that, but if you press the button, it will pull up. Let me see if I can do it for you and show you. But if you press the button, so it's replicating the button going up, the valve's sticking in. Now you can wiggle that around and it drops back down. And what I've done, I just asked my auntie if they've had an issue with it, and she said, oh actually yeah, it has been playing up, you just keep pressing the button and it drops back down. So what I'm going to do is go and see if I can pick up another one of these MACD syphons, because if we can get one of them, straight swap, it'll just clip straight back in. So let's pop the plumb base, see what Dave's got on the shelf. Right, so we're back from plumb base. They didn't have a MACD one, however the Fluid Master one we think is going to fit. So I'll show you exactly what I mean by it. Let's just whip this one out of the box. So that is the Fluid Master one. Now I took this knackered one with me So what me and Dave did is unclip that one, clip the knacker one in, and it fits inside this bracket, which then tells us in theory this one should fit the bracket of this that is in this pan. So let's give it a go. So let's see if this one would fit. Oh, that's good. I'm sure someone's going to tell me, oh yeah, Fluke Master one fits the cradle of treat. Well, sometimes you've got to find things out for yourself. So that's in. So let's turn the water back on. And it's nice and quiet, as we know. So let's see if this fills back up. Right, just connect that button on. Pop the lid on. Give it a quick test. Perfect. There we go. So, again, all done. Right, so if you remember back about probably 2 or 3 months, I came to this job because the customer had an issue with this bath. We did some other little bits, we changed the shower, but this bath, obviously not an issue as such, but the hot water in this bath is coming out at about 48 degrees, and size of the bath, customers basically can't have a warm bath. Now, we looked everywhere. It's clearly got a thermostatic mixing valve somewhere, because this tap, 60 degrees, this 45, 46 degrees. So there's clearly a mixing tap somewhere. Now, as you all know, they should be accessible, whereas these houses on this plot are renowned for problems, should we say. I've done loads in this little plot of houses. The builders have washed their hands with it. They don't want to know, they're only sort of 18 months old. It's a massive big thing going on. Anyway, this tap was not giving out enough heat, or it's thermostatically controlled, so it won't fill the bath with hot water. So the customer wanted something done about it. So first time I came, I took the valve out, made sure it wasn't the cartridge, spoke to Crosswater, whose tap it is. They said, no, it's not a thermostatic cartridge. So we had the shroud off, the pipes run under the floor. We checked literally everywhere. The cylinder's in here. So we checked the cylinder for any sort of TMVs, thermostatic mixing valves. We checked in the back of the cupboard. I even went up into the roof, checked completely up there. Nothing. We had the back of the basin units out. Couldn't find anything. So what we assessed to do then was, the building company wanted a price for someone to sort it out. Obviously the customer's gone to them saying, look, I want it sorted out, it's not good enough. So I came out just to have a look, and I went, the options are, we can lift the bath, see if it's under there, hopefully. Otherwise it's going to be under the floor somewhere. So my initial thing was, we'd have to take some tiles out. We even checked behind the bath, we even checked behind the toilet, had my thermal imaging camera, which I've got downstairs. We couldn't find it anywhere. And then I put a video out and people were saying, why don't you go through the ceiling below? Obviously, it's easier. So fortunately, where that bathroom is there, if we drop down, it's just there. We've got a toilet here, which backs onto this utility room where the boiler is. So this is, give or take, underneath where the bath is. The customer said previously, someone had been out and put an inspection light up there, couldn't see anything. So by the time we sort of worked out what we were thinking of doing, we were going to cut a hole in here, because give or take that is directly under where the bath is, and hopefully go from there, possibly find the valve under there. If not, the option to loop from the bath to where the basin would have been, roughly around here. That was an option. Then I sort of looked at here. So I've got here this morning, ready to sort of do some proper investigation work and see where we're at. So me and the customer have sort of stood in here working out where we could go. And I thought, worst case scenario, if we can't find the valve, we could possibly take a hot feed from this basin here. The boiler's in here, it's just a normal system boiler, flow and return. I thought maybe we could drop a pipe down there and pick up off this basin, worst case scenario. Bearing in mind, this has been going on, Dan's been here 18 months or so. I've been out a couple of times for various things and we've looked and I've racked my brains trying to think where it could be. So we've got, right, okay, worst case scenario, take a hot pipe from there. So we've come to this cupboard, we've moved some bits out of the way, like dog chews. And in the back of this cupboard is the mixing valve for the bath. Now, there's going to be people now going, I'd have looked there straight away. Dan said they've had 3 or 4 plumbers from the building company out. They've never even thought of looking inside a random cupboard in a utility. I came out, bearing in mind I've fitted them before, I know roughly where people put them, cupboards, roofs, couldn't find it. So this is where they've clearly put it. So, you know, I've looked everywhere as well for it, couldn't find it. This was a case of popping out under here, see if we can run a hot water pipe to it, and it's just there. So, what we're going to do is just adjust it and see how we go. So, I've popped the cap off it, and obviously, as you'll see, where are we? Which side is it? There it is. Maximum inlet temperature is so it's got maximum inlet temperature 80 degrees. Obviously, coming off that cylinder, we're going to be 60, 65 degrees, and they're preset to 43 degrees, which sort of tallies up with what we've got in that bathroom. So what I'll do is, I'll just pop the Allen key in there and see if we can throttle this up to the hottest setting. Let's pop upstairs with the thermal imaging and see what sort of temps we get in out of the bath now. So, as you can see now, put that on there, we're now getting 60 degrees at the back. So, after so we're now getting 60 degrees at the bath. So after 18 months of Dan living here, 3 or 4 months of me, originally, yes, I came out to do some other bits, but I looked at that and was like, right, okay, we'll have to come back and sort this out. And this is the first chance I've got to come out and really have a proper good look. And I just can't believe that we found it that easy after looking everywhere else for it. The top half of the house, people are going to come at me in the comments and go, oh yeah, I'd have checked in there. You wouldn't have done. As I said, they've had 3 or 4 plumbers out here over the time, and none of them have found it, because you wouldn't think it would be downstairs in a utility room. You thought it would be behind there, or possibly under the bath, possibly behind the toilet, or even in a cupboard or in the roof. Checked all of them, looking for other alternatives, and stumbled across that in the back of a unit. So yeah, massive headache, relieved straight away, give or take.